Hundreds of thousands of protesters in Europe took to the streets this September to oppose the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, or TTIP. They worry the deal will harm the environment, food safety, and workers' rights. They believe it could lead to higher drug costs and make it easier for companies to sue countries. The American Federation of Labor is on the proposed partnership's advisory committee, but trade policy specialist Celeste Drake says it cannot support the deal as it currently stands.
It's not that trade is bad. It's that trade right now is being driven by a really strong corporate hegemony, and we've got to kind of wrest the rules away from the powerful corporations and put them in the hands of the people. And then you'd see, I think, a lot more support for trade agreements.
Proponents admit TTIP could cause job losses, but say it will also lead to job gains and boost the economy, amounting to a net benefit. But many aren't buying it. Part of the mistrust stems from the secretive approach to the negotiations. The press, unions, and environmentalists have been given very little access, making it difficult to assess what's at stake.
It's not a clandestine type of activity. It's just that there's a lot of give and take, and they probably want to minimize that grandstanding effect on the part of their global citizens. Already there is a groundswell opposition to this trade agreement.
The agreement was first proposed in 2013. Since then, there have been several rounds of discussions. But in August, Germany's economy minister said the talks had failed because Washington was unwilling to compromise. This week, 90 EU negotiators have come here to New York City for 5 days of talks to try and smooth out some of the sticking points.
At the end of the meeting, both sides said they had made progress in many areas and remained as committed as ever, but admitted work still needs to be done on key issues like government procurements and market access. German Chancellor Angela Merkel recently said talks should continue, but few believe a deal is likely before the end of U.S. President Barack Obama's administration.
I think for the negotiators who always have one thing in mind, complete the agreement, they're concerned that if they don't have something closed and something to show for the 15 rounds of negotiations, that it could just be completely abandoned.
But Chan thinks it still stands a chance of survival.
In the heat of the presidential campaign with populism, obviously there is greater opposition, almost bipartisan. But I think that after the elections are over, both candidates, whichever one gets elected, I think will be a little bit more reasonable in the negotiation.
Another controversial trade agreement backed by Obama, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, is also stalling. Presidential Republican nominee Donald Trump has vowed to kill it, and Democratic rival Hillary Clinton, who once called it the gold standard of trade deals, has now distanced herself from it. But this might all change after the election in November. Karina, CCTV, New York.